This Week in Engineering and Education is brought to you by the University of Western Ontario, www.uwo.ca. We thank them for their support. This Week in Engineering and Education is brought to you in part by Carleton University. Carleton is Canada's capital university. We thank them for their support.
Hey everybody, it's time for This Week in Engineering and Education. This is your host, Kevin Kugler. Awesome careers in engineering. Thanks everybody for taking the time to be with us today. This is your host, Kevin Kugler from the Virtual Researcher on Call program. Got a great show for you today. We are going to talk about one of those awesome careers in engineering. And joining us to do that is Derek Kuhn from, this is QNX Software Systems. I'll introduce Derek in a minute, but before I do, there's a guy that's familiar over there in the Peel Region District School Board, Mr. Clayton Ellis. Good day, sir. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well. We've had snow like 3 times in the past 7 days, so it's nice to see this new changing time. And even though it's 11 degrees outside, you know, with a little bit of snow, it does make it somewhat festive. My kids really enjoy waking up to seeing snow on the ground.
Isn't that interesting? I just spent 4 days in Ottawa where I would expect to see snow, and I didn't. It was beautiful. And so I come back here, and then there's snow. That doesn't make any sense at all. But, hey, what can you do? Speaking of Ottawa, guess who's in Ottawa? Chantal Guy from Engineers Canada. She's back! Chantal, how are you?
I'm very well. I'm so happy to be back. And you might be missing Stephanie. It's okay. But I'm really happy to be here this week. And please, if you don't want your snow, you can send it our way. I can't wait to do skiing. So please, if you find you have too much, send it in Ottawa.
Okay, we'll do our best. And yes, we enjoy Stephanie, but we missed you as well, didn't we, Clayton?
Absolutely.
So, Chantal, you have a guest to your right, to my left. This is Mr. Derek Kuhn. He is the Vice President of Sales and Marketing at QNX Software Systems, and he just happens to be, surprise, surprise, an engineer. Hi, Derek. Thanks for coming on the show.
Hey, Kevin. Nice to meet you.
Good to meet you as well. We appreciate your time coming to talk to us and the teachers and the students of Ontario and Canada about your career. Why don't you start things off by telling us a little bit about your past and how you got to be where you are today?
Well, I went to university for engineering. I actually went to school right here at Carleton for engineering. Graduated in '93, and during my schooling, I actually was very fortunate. I found a job at a local engineering consultancy. Worked with them every summer during school, a little bit after school as well as I could fit it in, and they took me on after school, which was fantastic. Worked in a multidisciplinary consulting firm on things that at the time I was really, really excited about. Municipal, especially wastewater pollution control, industrial, as well as potable water systems, a little bit of civil, but a lot, based on industrial control systems. Really, really enjoyed it. But then, over the years, I saw other interesting things that friends were doing that I went to school with, and got together with a friend, Brian, who had a small company that was starting out in the telecom space, and joined him and worked almost 14 years now, or at that time in the telecom netcom space.
Okay.
Really
and is
really
the
enjoyed
company
that.
now
And joined
QNX Software?
company. Well, I really enjoyed that and then over the years I've actually ended up in the software space and working on things that have been just tremendously rewarding, and it's sort of the third phase, I guess, of a career.
What kind of things are you working on that are tremendously rewarding for you? You've got some cool projects on the go, as I understand it.
Yeah. I mean, this company is ridiculously cool. It's 30
Or
years
awesome.
old. It's actually or awesome. It's 30 years old. It was started here in Ottawa. It's a platform operating system company. Operating system plus platform. It was recently purchased by Research in Motion, the BlackBerry guys, about 2 years ago. But it has this 30-year pedigree of building really, really cool software for automotive community, healthcare electronics community, industrial automation, space and components, defense and aerospace, all kinds of very, very diverse, clientele. And, I remember when I was here at Carleton, I actually wrote for the Vena Contracta, which was the engineering newspaper. I wrote the car section. And now I'm actually dealing with all of these automotive companies, General Motors, Toyota, BMW, Mercedes, Porsche, Audi, on a regular basis, really working with them on the future of how automotive electronics are gonna change the way we drive. And that's only one little sliver. We're working on the healthcare electronics, what's going to happen in hospitals next, and how it's all going to be connected, machine-to-machine communications, and how that works over the mobile networks. It's a very, very cool space to be in.
Sounds great. It sounds like your company is really poised to be helping to decide what the future is going to look like in a lot of different areas. I want to go over to Clayton Ellis now to have him chime in, particularly because I don't see him moving too much, and I'm wondering if he's a frozen image or if he's just concentrating very hard on what you're saying, Derek. Clayton.
Well, I was listening with our students. What happens? Okay, I'm unfrozen. I was listening to our students, and a lot of times our students are really confused as to what they want to do. And I mean, you're talking about your business and all the different facets, all the different pieces that you have. Your I don't want to use the word tendrils because that's not a really appropriate word, but everything that you're involved with. And that's very cool for a student to hear that they potentially could have a career that they could do one thing 1 year and be really focused on healthcare and engineering, and then they could be doing something else, a few years later that's focused on cars and engineering. And I think that idea for our students to hear is something that's very important. I'm curious yourself, and it's a question I generally ask all of our guests, when you were going through your school, so back when you were in grade 9 through 12, and you were looking into the future at some point, did you see yourself in this kind of career choice, or was this something that was late in coming in university?
I don't know that it was late at all. I certainly didn't see this whatsoever. I grew up in an engineering family, so I had a sense for what it was about. I also had this real sense that it gave me a background from which I could pretty much do whatever I wanted to do, Mm-hmm. And that really appealed to me. I wasn't even sure what kind of engineering I wanted to do. I just knew at the time, the civil piece was really of interest. I had an interest in architecture. I had applied to various different schools for different things, and I thought, I can always change, focus if I want to afterwards. I didn't feel like I was hemmed in at all. Do you know what I mean? And it's really been that way. I mean, I'll admit that I haven't really engineered much lately, but I work with very talented engineers every day that are doing that kind of work, working on with our customers on the vision of how products will evolve, how these various different verticals we've described will change over the years. And that diversity, the fact that I can work in sales, in marketing, in product management with the core engineering teams and speak everybody's language at the same time is really cool.
We're talking today with Derek Kuhn from QNX Software Systems. He's the Vice President of Sales and Marketing. Derek, I want to come back. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to get to Chantel yet. Chantel, the show is all about you when we get back, but we're going to take this quick 2-minute break and hopefully stay with us, everybody.
This Week in Engineering and Education is brought to you in part by Sheridan Institute of Technology and Advanced Learning. At Sheridan, students shine brighter. Check out sheridanc.on.ca for more.
And we're back. So right before the break, we were talking with Derek Kuhn, who's our special guest from QNX Software Systems. Chantel, I apologize. I haven't gotten to you yet. You've been patiently sitting there. I'm sure you have lots of questions that you'd like to pose to our guest.
Well, I'm fascinated by Derek's story, but I find that what he's describing is exactly what we try to convey to kids. It's conversations I have with my own daughter. I have a 10-year-old. She likes science, she likes math, she likes reading, she likes everything, and we're starting to talk about, what is of interest as a career in the future. And, I like to think of engineers as enablers of dreams. And what Derek described is exactly that. You know, going into engineering is a perfect way to be in a situation you can dream the future and make sure that it happens, creating it. So again, my message is always the same. Like, if you're interested in making a change, in contributing to society, but also to create dreams and you know, develop visions and deliver on them, engineering is the best way. And I think Derek's testimony to that speaks very loudly. You know, it opens all the doors you want and
It really
you want in your life. And to actually hear, my brother is an electrical engineer. He has a similar path to yours, but he started, you know, as an electrical engineer. Is to hear a civil engineer. I'm a geological engineer. To go and basically, because of the background you learn at university, and basically what happens at university is you learn how to learn, and then you apply that to start in civil, do infrastructure work, buildings, water systems, etc., to, you know, telecom, and then to software. It's just a perfect example of how versatile engineering, you know, is, and what an enabler it is for any career that you want or you want to dream about.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah.
So I'm not sure if this next comment is particularly educational. We always try and have some type of an educational message here for teachers and students. But, Derek, one thing I wanted to ask you about, and Clayton, I'm sure the kids will be really interested in this, although, again, I'm not sure if it's educational. But, Derek, you were working on a project where you were working on the world's first LTE-connected car. I found that to be, well, incredibly cool and awesome and all of those things. Tell us a little bit about that. It just sounds fantastic. And more importantly, did you bring one today for Chantal? Because, you know, she really likes those.
It's just in the parking lot, so Chantal's covered.
Perfect.
Yeah, it was a tremendous project. You know, I was working in the Chief Technology Office. At the time, I was responsible for emerging technologies and the media practice at Alcatel-Lucent, you know, a very large telecom company. And one of the key things that we were doing in the mobility space, and this was now, think about it, 4 years ago, introducing a technology called LTE, long-term evolution, or 4G, from a mobility perspective.
Yep.
And, you know, if you think about it, you know, you don't need 4G to make a phone call on your mobile device. You need it for everything else. And one of the things that I really wanted to achieve was to showcase to everybody what this might bring to automotive in terms of safety, in terms of the driving experience, in terms of what it might bring to the, you know, what could happen from an entertainment perspective in the car. And instead of doing it academically and just trying to, you know, figure out a way, we actually got a bunch of very cool companies together, from media companies, automotive companies, software companies, and we actually decided we're just going to build it, and we're going to showcase it and see what people say. And it was actually unveiled at the Consumer Electronics Show a number of years ago, to reviews that were just well beyond our expectations. Nobody could believe what this car was actually capable of. And then I'm very proud to say that just a short time later, we actually were in Germany, and it was the first time we had a small, we call it a cow, it's kind of a funny name, but it's essentially a standalone 4G mobile cell site, and we were in Stuttgart, and we actually had a brand new Audi A8, one of their flagship cars, and we actually put it in a real car, a real production car, and showcase to people what it actually would allow in a production car. That, again, the reaction from press, from people in the automotive community was just unbelievable. That turned out to be actually a showcase that happened in Barcelona at Mobile World Congress, which is, you know, the mobile industry's largest show in the world, bar none. And it's just led to more and more cool activities in that space.
Okay, so you know what you need to do, Derek? You need to grab that car, and you need to drive it down to Clayton's classroom. Hey, Clayton, I'm surprised you haven't asked him that already.
We're looking to increase our population in the school, and having a vehicle like that, and along with the technology and the engagement level, would easily basically put too many bodies in our school, I think.
See what you can do, Derek, okay?
Sure. The cars are available. They, for example, that car was also used. The Canadian government asked for it to be showcased at the G20, so they actually shipped it from Ottawa to Toronto. And I stood there at the G20 for a number of days and interacted with all of the guests, and was able to showcase it to like international leaders from around the world. It was really fantastic.
Is it really in the parking lot?
No, it's actually not in the parking lot. I was just kidding. But there,
I want to see it now.
But there is
it's at your house. So.
Actually, well, QNX actually has a garage here in Ottawa where we work on a lot of the cars, and there is a third generation of that car that's being built by some incredibly talented engineers right now to be unveiled at CES, which is in the beginning of January in Las Vegas. So
you're going to be in Las Vegas in January, right?
Absolutely. I know that car is actually going from Las Vegas to Dallas to do another big engagement in Dallas the following week. CES is the 9th to the 13th. So basically that Saturday it'll get put on a truck and it'll go get pushed to Dallas. But seriously, I would love to showcase it to you guys. I really would. And maybe we can find a way.
Yeah, we'll find a time for sure.
You know, because, I mean, talking like this is one thing, and it's all inspirational, and it's all wonderful, you know, but just to see it and touch it and be immersed in it, I mean, that's the magic of engineering, right, Clayton?
Absolutely. Kids always want to, you have their attention. This particular podcast that we're doing now will keep their attention for a little bit, but I mean the moment you see anything tangible, especially what you're talking about, and I think back to the mandate of our particular school, but in a lot of schools and the new curriculum, the greening initiatives that are in there, there's conservation expectations, sustainability expectations all throughout the science curriculum from K to 12, newly rewritten in the past 3 years. So any person who had an opportunity to see this vehicle and get an understanding of how it works, it's completely engaging to see that. Absolutely.
Sure.
Sounds like a road trip. Send your applications to Mr. Clayton Ellis at the Peel Region District School Board, and Clayton will happily vet those, I'm sure. All right. Anyways, now that I've set him up for that, we're running out of time. Chantel, any last words before we sign off for this week?
No, it was a pleasure to be back. Hopefully I'll be able to continue on in the new year. Fascinated by Derek's story. Just, again, an amazing example of what engineering can lead you to, and, endless possibilities. And I definitely want to see the car now. So.
And that's just the tip of the iceberg. I'm sure there's a lot of neat, other stuff that Derek's been working on that we might be able to see as well, and give these kids a bird's eye view. Derek, thank you so much for coming on the show today. It's been a real pleasure.
Well, it's an honor to have been invited. Thank you so much for having me.
It was our pleasure indeed. Our special guest today has been Derek Kuhn from QNX Software Systems. He's the Vice President of Sales and Marketing there. And on behalf of Chantal Guy from Engineers Canada and Clayton Ellis from the Peel Region District School Board, this is Kevin Kugler from Virtual Researcher on Call, saying thanks again, everybody, for tuning in to This Week in Engineering and Education. Have a safe and happy week. See you again next week.